to my channel. I'm Dawn the Reclusive Crafter, and today is Mishmash Monday, and the theme of today is what do you do with all of your stuff when you're just creating more and more and more stuff to work with. So I have just finished the Georgian Romance Journal. Hopefully you've been along to the channel and had a look at that. It's very pretty and I'm very pleased with it. I'm just having a sort out now of all the bits and pieces that I've got left over from making the journal. And I've seen lots of not videos, but I've seen people commenting and making faux stamps out of punches, and I thought, oh, I really like that idea, but I didn't want to spend any money on punches. So I had a look through my bits and pieces. I've got lots of these scissors that I use. Some of them I use quite a lot and others I don't use a great deal at all. And I came across this one, which gives me a lovely edge very similar to that of a postage stamp, just a larger version of it. So I thought today's video we could do a little bit of using our scrappy bit leftovers and making up some faux stamps with real stamps. I've got literally, if I just show you a few of my stamps I've got this box here and it's absolutely full, and I've got literally about 2 carrier bags absolutely full of stamps like this, and they just sit there and they don't really get used. So I'm going to combine the two together in today's video, and this is what I'm producing. So I started off with just cutting out individual size pieces, and I thought I'll find the stamp to go on it. So I cut out a dozen or so of those and I found stamps that fitted, and all of these were all cut out of the leftover bits from my journal. Okay, so I found the stamps to put on them and I started sticking them down. So what I've ended up with is some very pretty little embellishments that I can use in other journals, things like this. And I've picked themes that you can use in journals quite easily, so things like birds and animals and flowers and things like that you can use. And I just thought they were lovely and a really nice way to actually use up your bits that you've left over, but also to use your stash that you've got tucked away that never sees the light of day. I then went one step further and I thought, oh well, actually you could then make a little collage out of those and stick them together as clusters and use them that way. And then I went on one step further and thought, oh, I could actually do a cluster on a piece of the scrap left over and then cut it into the size of a stamp, and that way then you're not losing all of the detail on the beautiful paperwork or the beautiful digital prints that you have got left over. Oh gosh, my tummy is grumbling. Can you hear that? I hope not. So that's what I decided to do with that, and I've produced this one as well, and this is 4 little stamps on here, and I've just done the edging, and that's on a piece of the backing paper that I had left over. So a few ideas there. So we've got the kind of the montage of stamps there. We've got a collage cluster, and then we've got our individual ones there as well, and they are so easy to make. Literally, if you're just doing one of these, it's probably easier, if I'm completely honest, to find your stamp first and to cut a piece that's big enough for your stamp. So for instance, we've got this piece here that would fit on there quite nicely. What way round does it go? It goes that way round. There's green in the stamp and there's green in there as well, and there's also the pinks that we're picking up here as well. So it's not a bad marry or marriage, if you like. So I'm going to cut that out. In fact, I'm going to stick that down first. So let's stick that down. And then we're just going to have a nice quiet little kind of craft along and see what we can come up with. So that one goes that way round. If I pop that one there, I'd like to leave enough of a border, obviously, to get the fluted or the postage style edge, and then literally just cut that however you want to. And it'll obviously leave you with a few more scraps, but at least you are using your scraps up rather than them ending up in the bin, which is awesome, really. Gonna cut that there, and we are going to cut that there. And there we are. So that's a singular stamp there, which you can use to embellish tags, pockets, use it as an individual little embellishment on a page, whatever you want to do with it. So that's the individual one. And then with the, oh, I've pulled off all my stamps from my little layouts that I've done. I had them all laid out nicely for the individual ones, and I seem to have lost some along the way. Those ones are completed, so let me pop those up there out of the way, and we'll do a little bit of a show and tell at the end, I think. And yeah, just fill your boots and just make a collage really out of, you know, what is absolutely stunning paper. I'm going to move all these to one side for the moment because I'd like to do some collages. I don't know where that stamp's gone. Seems to have done a runner. Let's pop. Let's pop that one on there because that's kind of sort of the right colour. Mind you, that probably looks better on there actually. So that's that one. That's that one. Did we have a rose on there? We didn't because the stamp's a bit too big. Maybe that one. Yep, that works. So we're going to go with that one there. So let me just move these out of the way, and then I'm going to do some collages. So how are we all doing today? Are you all well? I hope so. Let me find some stamps to work with. So I have pulled out some stamps already. We don't want those are Christmassy ones. Yeah, I have pulled out some stamps already because I thought it might take a little while. So I've been through some of my stamps and just divided out the different, so I've got flowers and butterflies and birds, and I just thought it would be nice to kind of see what we can do with them. You see, that's lovely, isn't it? Although that's probably a little bit busy, to be fair. If I turn it over, I can use that section there, although the idea being that I'm going to use that section down there actually. The idea being is that on the bigger ones you can leave some of the image there so that you can see it. I think that's a little bit too close to the same colour, so I'll go with do you know, this was all working swimmingly. There we go, that's a nice one. So that's there. Pop that one there. Yeah, sorry, so how are we all doing? Are you all doing well? Like I say, I have finished the Georgian Romance Journal. If you haven't been and had a look at it, I'd love you to go and look at it. Let me know what you think. You see, that's lovely, but that's a bit torn there, and those are all the same. We've got a lovely pink one there. Just making a little sort of a random-ish collage on here. And I do want it to be quite random. I don't want... That's quite nice, isn't it? Does that work with that wheel there? Well, I'll have a look and see. I think the thing with this is if you get, with me, if you get too finicky over things, you can spend a long time, can't you? So I'm just going to pull those down, and I'm just going to start sticking these down and see what it looks like. And you know, worst case scenario, if you don't like it, you can either just cut the stamps out and reuse them on something else, or if you've got as many as I have, I hate to say this, throw them away and start again. Because yeah, sometimes you can have so much stuff that it does become overwhelming and you really don't know what to do with it. So back to the journal. So if you haven't been along and had a look at the journal, I'd love you to go and have a look at it. It is finished. I did do, I'm going to pull that up if I can, tuck that underneath. I did do a lovely keepsake box to go with it as well, which I think is absolutely adorable. I'm very pleased with it, to be fair. And hopefully Amanda at Scrimping Mummy will be just as pleased with what I've done with her designs. And now it's time to move on. I haven't decided yet what I want to do for my next projects. So I've decided to kind of make some embellishments up and do a little bit of bitting and bobbing around just to use some stuff up. And what I've also learnt from doing that journal, you may recall if you've actually seen any of the videos, when I started the journal, I decided to do it very differently, in that I made some of the tags and pockets and embellishments before I even put the journal together. The idea being that once the journal was all put together, I could then just tuck things in at leisure and as I wanted to. So I've never made it like that before. Normally what I do is I make the cover and the signature and get all that together, and then I make up the pockets and the ephemera page by page as I go along. And I find doing it that way, the journal actually talks to me and tells me pretty much what to do with it. And because I did it so differently this time, I didn't feel that it spoke to me as much as I would have liked it to. So consequently, although I'm very pleased with the journal, there is lots about it I would have done differently and I would change. And things that, there were things I wanted to do that I didn't have room to do because of the type of closure on it. I was very conscious that I didn't want it to become a gator mouth, and that made it quite difficult. I'm doing this and I don't like it. It's I think the stamps are a little bit lost on this little piece here, but we shall persevere. There we go. Okay, I think that one in the centre there is a little bit lost. I'm sure you'd agree. But it's not too bad, is it? I quite like it-ish, so I'm going to put that with the duns, and I'm sure we can make use of that with something. Yeah, so the next project I'm going to do, I'm going to stick to my guns, and I am going to put it together and then do the embellishments on it, because that works better for me personally. And I think it's important that, you know, once you find a method that you are happy with, that you kind of stick to that. If it works for you, you've heard the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know, if it works for you, then leave it alone. You know, just go with the flow, because I think that's really important sometimes. But having said that, it's always worth trying new things, because you don't know if something's going to work for you unless you do try it. So yeah, there's pros and cons to everything. when you're crafting, but you will find your way, and like I say, you'll find what works for you, and that's all that matters. I think I might just go with the 3 on here actually. Might move that up a little bit there. Just looking to see what I've got. Not sure. Let me pop that one there, and then pop that one. But then that's very samey to one I've already done. I want to try and do a few sort of different ideas with this, if I can. What about if I pop that there? Pop that one over the top. That works. Yep, happy with that. That's better. Okay. Sometimes you just have to jiggle around until it feels right. Yes. So, what else is new? Not a great deal, to be fair. I did a little bit of visiting in the week. So I saw my brother in the week, and I saw my sister. I haven't seen them for a while, so that was nice. Did a little bit of shopping, only food shopping, nothing exciting. I can't remember how I had this now. Oh, was that one there? I think that one was there, wasn't it? And then I had that one sort of like that, maybe-ish. Oh, well, that's how it's going, because I can't remember exactly how I had it. Jibby-jabbering away, not taking any notice of what I'm doing. So there we go. I'm using Pritt Stick at the moment, and this one is very gloopy. I might swap over and use my Yoo-hoo glue. Don't want to lose too much of this design here. I've done that wrong, haven't I? I was going to put that piece on next. Yeah, never mind. Never mind. So we're going to pop that one there. Okay. All right then, let's cut that little shape out, see what occurs. And these are really quick to do. You probably won't take as long to do them as I do, because yeah, I do tend to jiggle things around and mess about a lot, but like I say, they are quite quick to do, and you can make quite a lot of embellishments for your journals and things very simply. There's that one, and they're kind of like big stamps in their own right. I'm just going to trim that a little bit more actually. I'm not happy with how that is. That's better, I think. Okay, so that's that one done. Let me just get these little bits out of the way. And then we've got some that are like this, and I'm loath to cut them down because they've got the date stamps on them, and I quite like that when you're journaling. So I think what I might do is I'm going to tidy up the edges a little bit, but I am leaving the date stamp on there. I'm not going to trim that side because I want that date stamp left on there. And maybe that in itself, because it's got the white edge, actually works quite well on that, I feel. Maybe bring that, just find somewhere on what you're working with where you feel it works best, and then cut it from there. That's quite nice. We'll do that. See what that looks like. And again, no rhyme or reason to this. It's just random crafting with bits that I have left over, some stash that I've got sitting around that's been here since God was a lad, and yeah, just generally trying to make use of all sorts of bits and pieces and see where we go from there. Get rid of these little bits. So one of the dogs is driving my other half mad. He's taken to just sitting and staring at you for some reason. If anybody knows why dogs do that, do let me know. He normally comes up here with me when I'm crafting, but he's being a little bit annoying today, so I've left him downstairs. My other half ended up abandoning him and going up to his office because he was just being so annoying and just sitting there staring at him all day. So, and he doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't want to go out, he doesn't want feeding, he doesn't want cuddles, he just wants to sit and stare at you. And I did read an article that said that dogs do that because they love you, which I think is really sweet, but it's really disconcerting when you've got a dog just staring at you and you've got no idea exactly what it wants because it doesn't actually want a cuddle. So that's that one. So like I say, I've left that little bit there. I think that works really nicely actually, and I actually quite like it on that background. That's nice. So we've done something with that one. Right, what have we, let's have a look, see what else we've got in the way of, I did have some butterflies somewhere. Let me see if I can find my pretty butterflies. So I know those are birds. What we got in here? Let's have, oh, they're numbers. Pulled out some with just numbers on. What's this? They're insects. Insects are a bit random. One of my granddaughters is very into spiders specifically. Those are aminals. So I thought I'd do a random section on insects, which might work for somebody. Here we go. Look, butterflies. Let's have a go at some butterflies. We love a butterfly. You see, look, how pretty is that? That's lovely. And that one's really nice as well. And I've got a double there. I'm going to use that one because that's lovely. I like that. I'm going to just put that one on there on its own. Not going to mess about with it. I'm running out of room on my table. Just give this a little bit of a glooby-doo. Glooby-dooby-doo. Pop that up there. I'm going to leave a nice generous border around that because I absolutely love the paper. Okay, I think that one works really well because it's a white background on the stamp. Just going to straighten that up a little bit. I think that's a bit better. So yeah, that looks quite nice. These scissors were a godsend. I can't believe I found them in my stash. It was, I was determined I really didn't want to spend money on a stamp, and I thought, surely I've got something that I can use to do this with. And lo and behold, when ye seek, ye shall find, apparently. There we go, that's that one. Aren't they lovely? I'm really pleased actually with these. They're going to make some lovely little embellishments for journals and things. Not quite sure where yet, but do you know what? That's the beauty of having stashes, in that you use them. See, that one there's got the thingy. I was just going to say before I forget, you use them, you know, in whatever way you want to. Cut that one a little bit close there, but that's okay. I'm going to keep that there. See, that in itself actually, without even a backing on it, would look nice, wouldn't it? However, I am going to put it on there. Oh, it's all sticky. It's the trouble when you're doing a lot of gluing. You do tend to get a little bit gummed up, in the truest sense of the word. There we go. Let's pop that one there. And again, I do want to see some of this paper underneath. There we go. Just don't want to go too close to it. There we are. So, what plans have you all got for this week? I really don't have any plans, which is lovely not to have any plans. I might go to the charity shop at some point and have a mooch around and see what sort of goodies I can grab for crafting with. You see, again, isn't that lovely? Very pretty, very simple. Really could not be simpler. Just wondering if I can use this. I know it's a little bit beaten up here, but I still think I can make use of it. Yeah, I don't need anything, but we do have 1, 2, 3 charity shops within walking distance of where I live, and I like to pop in from time to time, A, to support the charities because I donate quite a few bits and pieces to them, but also just have a look and see what they've got that I can use for crafting, because you can pick up all sorts of things in a charity shop for crafting. And it's a really cheap way to replenish stock. Oh, I haven't stuck that down yet. Let me stick that down, then I'll know where I'm cutting. Might be useful, mightn't it? Yeah, you can pick up some really lovely stuff in charity shops, and even clothing. I know I shouldn't say this, but we use a lot of lace and sequins and satin and netting and all those sorts of things in crafting. And sometimes you can pick up some really cheap pieces of clothing that would be fantastic for cutting up. And I know there's people out there going to be horrified that I've said that, but it's true. So, and the other thing as well, it's, you know, it's not really going to waste because you are making use of it in a positive way. There we go. Okay. Right, I'm just going to cut a little pieces of this off, and then I'm going to move on to a different... Oh, I messed that up there. Let me cut that again. I'm going to move on to a different background so that we've got some... Oh, that's not straight at all. We've got some different bits to use there. There we go. That's not even better. Oh dear. Is that better? That's better. Okay, let's just straighten that edge up there. There we go. Right then, let me pop that in there, and I'll use that. Pop that there. Trim this one up here. Yeah, so anybody that is new at journaling or junk journaling or just creating with different medias, charity shops are the place to go, guys, because you can pick loads and loads of bits up. Just go in with open eyes and look at things very differently. When you go in, if you're looking at clothing in particular, don't look at clothing as clothing, look at it as material and what you can do with it. And that's the same with dressmaking or curtain making or anything else. You can go into these places. As an example, you can pick up some curtains. You can make cushion covers out of them. You can rip them up and use them in your journaling. You can literally do so many things with stuff. So yeah, utilise your charity shops because they're there to make money for their charities. And believe me, they do not sell everything that they get in. They end up taking an awful lot and donating it themselves or sending it to third world countries, or even actually going into the textile bins. You know, they get rid of quite a lot of stuff. So, you know, never feel guilty because you are utilising something. because it is far better to do that than for something to go in the bin at the end of the day. Right, I've got, just digging around in my thing here, I've got this here. I'm almost tempted actually to make a folio out of that, a little. I did one before, didn't I? Because these two pieces go together really nicely like that. See, that works really nicely, and then you can make a... I'm going to save this bit. I'm not going to cut this piece up. I am going to make a folio out of that. It will need backing because it's only on photocopy paper. But if I show you, look. There we go. And the idea being is that that ends up opening up like that. The other alternative would have been to have made a trifold out of it and have one side or the other as the front, which would have been just as nice. But I will back that. In fact, I wonder, bear with me. I'm going to, because I know where all my bits and pieces are now, I know exactly where I have got my coffee stained paper. Voila! Isn't that beautiful? I love being able to just grab hold of something. Isn't that lovely? I did that myself. That's one of my own coffee dyed pieces, which I'm very pleased with. Still smells of coffee a little bit, not a lot. Right, I am going to... what's the best way to glue this down? I think I will use my use, preferably one that's not too tacky. Let me get a clean bit of paper. Oops, drop the lid. Never mind, I'll get that in a minute. I'll just fold that piece up. I can use that again momentarily. Okay, let's do this. And then I will have a lovely little folio that I can then embellish to pop into some other project, which is nice. Oh, that's helpful. That one's run out. Well, how rude. But as if by magic, I have one here. Is that one about to run out as well? I do hope not. There we go. Yeah, so as well as using stamps, I'm just going through my leftover bits and pieces from my journal to see what I can do with it all. And this is a prime example of it because this now will not go to waste. Not that it would have done anyway. Not a piece this size would never have gone to waste. No siree, Johnny Bob. There we go. Okay. Right, I'm going to leave that to dry before I do anything with it. And trim it up. There we go. So when that folds over, that'll have that beautiful, beautiful dyed paper on the inside of it, which is lovely, isn't it? So I'm going to leave that to dry before I do anything with it. I'm going to tuck that under my mat. So we know what we're doing with that one, which is fabulous. I've got that. What else have we got? Let's have a look. See. Just checking my time. Make sure we don't... Oh, I've got these. Isn't that cute? Yes, I'm going to make a journal card out of that. I was messing about in my journal. I did this lady here on the very back page, inside back cover. I did a window with her standing in front of the window, and I used that image there, and I was trying to get the right size for it. So I printed out this one and another one to get the right size for it. But this one, I am going to use this as a journal card, a little folded journal card, which will be lovely, won't it? So that I can use for, what can I use that for? Stamping, making some labels with. And then let me cut this one down here. This is certainly a mishmash Monday for sure. I'm trying to make use of as much as I possibly can. Being a good girl and not wasting stuff. And hopefully you're picking up some ideas along the way, which is nice. Now I wonder if that will fit on that bit of paper that I've just done. Will it or will it not? It will not. Shoot, never mind, doesn't matter. I can get another piece. In actual fact, I have got, I do believe, will that fit on there? Oh, look at that, that's perfect. And that would make, oh, is it perfect? Almost perfect. Well, that's okay, I don't mind trimming it a little bit. I could stick that on there, and then that section could be used for journaling. How fab is that? Oh, it would help if... Oh, I see. I thought I'd cut that down wrong then. I've just realised that's what I printed on the back. So I've got that size there to go on there. Confused myself then. Totally confused myself then. I thought I hadn't done that right. So yeah, when I'm messing about on the printer and I'm printing stuff out, if I either reduce that stuff down or enlarge it or whatever I do, if I don't like the size of it that I've printed, I'll just turn it over and use the other side as well, so it doesn't actually go to waste. Occasionally I don't get it right second time, and then I do what I'm doing now, where I utilise the bits. There we go. In actual fact, I'm going to cut that with my crafty knife. Go. Let's cut that piece off there, and I just need to do the tiniest little trim job there. Like that, and then this will fold in half like that. Where's my bone folder? Let me just give that a squidgeroony. Squidgeroony. There we go, look. How fab is that? Little journal card. I'm going to pop that under my mat too, because having used the... Whoop, that's gone down the back of the desk. Oh joy. I'll have to get that in a minute. Yeah, having used the glue stick, that's actually going to start curling quite heavily, so I'm going to pop that under there as well. Do you reckon I can retrieve my glue stick? Bear with me, folks. I'm going in for a deep dive here. Oh, goodness me. There we are. I'm still here. Don't panic. I'm resurfacing. Oh, there we go. Okay. Back to the drawing board. Here we are. Right then, let's have a look, see what else we've got. Got those. They're quite cute, aren't they? Right, what are we going to use these for? Now then, let me grab, just wondering if, let me use this bit of paper. How wide are they? They could potentially, perfect. Look at that, belly bands. Nice, they just need a little bit of embellishing. So I'm going to put those in my to-do box, because that's work to be done. So that's that. In actual fact, I'll leave them on my desk for now, and we can do a run through after, and I can show you what I've got out of all of my bits and pieces. I'm looking, I've almost forgotten why I'm looking through this. I'm looking for stuff to put some of those stamps on, aren't I? Yes, I am. That's pretty, isn't it? Let's see what we can do with that. Okay. We shall see what we can do. We've got some butterflies here. Bertie, Bertie, Bertie flies. That's a butterfly. That's a flower. That's a flower. Flower, flower, flower. Flower, 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 birdie. Okay. Let's have a look, see what we can do with some of these. Now then, because this is beautiful flowers here, I'm going to, well, how many have we got here? We've got 5, which is handy. I'm going to make a little collage of some butterflies. That's nice, isn't it? Or do I want that over this side? I think I waste too much over that side. I think that can come over there quite nicely. So let me stick this one down. Oh my goodness me, I really need a bigger desk. I keep knocking things off the blooming thing. Drives me mad. There we go. Let me pop this one down. Beautiful red admiral. That one can go down there. And I think I will make this the last one. Just conscious of the time. I was putting that one there, was I? I can't remember. Where's the one? I thought there was a lighter one I was popping there. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, sorry, I'm conscious of the time, so I don't want to... And the other thing as well is boring you all to death with what I'm doing. And then might bring that one in there because I don't want to lose the flowery bit. I'm going to lift that one up a little bit. I'm going to tuck that one underneath there. And that is exactly what I'm telling you. Okay. So I want to pop that one about there. Pop that one down there. There we go. And I'm going to pop my lid on that one. I'm going to pick that lid up and pop it on this one, which is nearly empty. Put that one over there for recycling. And we're going to cut this out. Oh, don't lose your butterfly, Dawn. Keeping some of the design. In actual fact, this would make a nice little journal card, wouldn't it? Something this size. That's what we're going to do with that. I'm going to cut that about there. And then trim that. I just had another thought. There we go. Just trim this down here. Oh, missed it there, didn't I? Never mind. Okay, so that's that one. Pretty little journal card. However, what would be even nicer is if we back it with a bit of thicker avocado dyed paper, which is also a pinky colour, which would be nice, wouldn't it? So let me glue, oh, got some gloopy glue on there, yuck. Okay, let me just, oh, that doesn't look very nice, does it? Oh my gosh, that's horrible. Oh, this was the really gloopy one. I remember this one. It's nasty. I'm not quite sure why I didn't throw this one away, to be fair. I think I was hoping it would get better if I just left it to kind of go hard again, but it doesn't seem to have. Ugh, that one's horrible. Right, let me try and get some of this smudged off of there, because that's just not delightful at all. I got the edges done. Make sure I've got the edges done. There we go. Okay, we've smooshed it about a bit. Ooh. I won't even tell you what it's like. Yuckity yuck. Get off. Right, I'm going to pop that down there. Need a bit of tissue on this because I am literally, oh, all gummed up. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to cut that out. Again, leaving a little bit of trim, but this has got, this is pink. If you've never avocado dyed your papers before, if you eat avocados, just keep the skins. I believe I have told you how to do this before, but if you've missed it, and I think I missed a bit out as well, keep the skins, pop them into boiling water, boil them up for, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, or however long you feel is necessary for the water to be the colour that you want. And be prepared, it doesn't actually go pink, it goes like a reddy sort of browny yucky colour, but it dyes the paper really nicely. And then when the paper is cooled, when the water's cooled down a little bit, you can then dip your pages in and spray them or do whatever you want to with them, and it just dyes the paper really nice. And it also is a really good dye for fabric as well, so if you've got white laces or linens or anything like that that you want to add a little bit of colour to, you can do that as well. There we go, little journal card. That's cute, isn't it? Like that. Right, let's have a quick tidy up time, and we will show you, or I will, because there isn't a we here, it's the royal we, as in me. I will show you what we have achieved today. So let's just get all of these out of the way. We've got these, we've got these, we've got those that still need sticking. So I'm not going to bore you to death with going through those. And then we've got these couple of bits that I've got tucked away under here. So let me just move all of this out of the way. Let me grab these couple of little bits that we've got in here. Okay, I am going to just trim that edge off and just see if I can fold it to give you the effect. What's that one? Oops. Well, that was rubbish cutting. There we go. Okay, so I've got that piece now that I can still use for something else, for tags or whatever. And I'm just wondering if I actually want to do a bifold on this, or whether I do want to do a trifold? I'm going to go with a trifold on this. Let me see if I can fold this neatly. Is that going to work? Have I done that trifoldy enough? Probably a bit too, oh, it's still a bit too wet really. So you get the gist. Okay, I'm not going to go the whole hog on this because it is still a little bit damp, to be fair. So that is going to be a little trifold folio that you can use to tuck into pockets. I'm just going to flatten it out again just while it dries, because it's not dry enough at the moment to warrant folding it up, but you get the general idea. So that's going to be a little trifold folio for tucking into a pocket inside a journal. So that's that. So we've got that out of today. Okay, we have also got this little folded journal card, which can be utilised as a little tuck-in. And then we have got these two cuts here, which are going to be used as belly bands on a journal, and they can be embellished however. You can put butterflies on them, flowers on them, yeah, whatever you want to really. So they're going to be used as belly bands. So we've got two little folios, two belly bands, and then we've got this little journal card which goes that way. We've got that journal card there, which is very pretty with the little butterflies on. Very happy with that. And then we've got all of these little embellishments that I did. So we've got this one, very pretty. It's still got the little first class writing on there as well from when it was on the envelope. So that's lovely. We've got this one, which has still got its stamp mark on it, which I absolutely love. Hopefully I'm in shot here and you can see these. We've got this little double stamp here. And we've got this one, which has still got its postmark on, and very cute, like that one. And then we've got this little collage here. We have this little collage. We've got a single stamp there. We have got a tiny little single stamp there. In fact, I've got quite a few little single stamps. So there's that one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got another little collage there, which is a cluster more than a collage. Okay. And then we've got these two little collages here. So just from my little stash and just messing about with a few bits and pieces that I had in stash and with the leftovers from the journal, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 collage embellishments. I've got a little cluster. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 5 individual stamps. I've got 1, 2, 3 of the postmark stamps. Got a little double stamp there. I've got a journal card, 2 belly bands and 2 folios. So I think that's a really successful session. I'm going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you all again for No Waste Wednesday. We're probably going to be doing a bit more of this, to be fair, although I'm not sure. I'll find something different to show you. Okay, take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.